Hello, everybody. This is Ava Vanderstaren. I'm doing a live today with Danielle Bermel, and we're going to be talking about mental health. So we're just going to get her joined into the call here and then get going. I see a couple people have joined. Hi, guys. How's everybody doing? Hey, Kate. Blossom Living with POI. Hi. How's it going? Good to see you guys. All right. So Danielle's joined. Let me just get her added in the call. All right. I think, Danielle, you should be seeing a request, hopefully. Yay.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey. How's
Hey.
it going?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Actually, I'd be lying if I said good. I had have a bit of a rough night last night.
I guess we're going to get into that.
Yeah. Good to see you though.
Good to see you too. Yeah, I was just saying that we're going to be talking about mental health today. So my name's Ava Vanderstaren, and this is my friend Danielle. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Danielle. I'm a mom of two. I'm so happy to be here today. I hope you guys are all doing well.
Yeah, so we're just going to be talking a little bit about mental health. We're both going to share our stories, chat a little bit about some things that we want to share, and maybe share some tips with people about some things that we do. Well, do you want me to just jump right into it and get started with some stuff?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So today we're going to talk a little bit about mental health, and we're also just going to go through some stuff. It's not easy to talk about these things, and it's all a work in progress. Nobody's mental health is perfect ever, like all the time, I have to say. So yeah, for me, I think what my patterns are is I have like this thing where I overwork myself a lot. I'll get to like, it's kind of like being a workaholic, I guess I could say, but like my whole life I've worked myself to the point of burnouts and breakdowns. And so I'll get to the point where I will be totally overwhelmed and like completely overworked, and then I'll have a huge breakdown. So that's what my pattern is. And that's happened to me like pretty much my whole life as long as I can remember. Like even in grade 6, it was happening to me. Like I would just work myself until sickness. So in grade 6, my teacher gave me a week off of homework because I was burning out in like elementary school. So this is something that's happened pretty much my whole life as long as I can remember. And like, I think I have to say, like, working is and having a good work ethic is a good thing. Like, a lot of people think of that as a positive quality, right? But when it comes to the point of hurting your health, then it's something that needs to be addressed. And then in 2009-ish, I was diagnosed with premature ovarian insufficiency, which some people can say is sometimes related to stress. Like, if you don't know another reason of why you have that it's possible that it can be related to stress. But in 2017, ended up having like a really big breakdown and a really big burnout. And I started to go see a bunch of different naturopaths, and started doing a lot of work on myself, started going to counseling and just trying to come to terms with everything. Like what I had, for people who don't know, I'll say premature ovarian insufficiency is a condition where it's like early menopause. So I was told like when I was about 15, 16 years old that I wouldn't be able to have kids. So it was like it's a lot to process, and it's like it's a grieving process in itself, and then just like coming to terms with that. And I think like I would just continually just throw myself into work, like just throw myself into work and just pretend like everything's okay, just work as hard as you can. When you're achieving your goals, like it's like, oh, like you must be doing well because look at you're getting this goal, you're getting that goal, you're doing that. But then like, behind the scenes you could be having like breakdowns, which I was having, and like I would just overwork myself to the point of exhaustion continuously until I would get sick, then have to take time off work and then start the cycle over again. So that's kind of like just like a little general overview. And then in 2017, someone really close to me passed away, my grandpa, and that side of the family is German, so we call him Opa. which would be Oma and Opa, and somebody that I grew up with that was part of my life every day. We saw them every day. Like we lived either really close to them or right beside them. And like until I moved away from my family's house to Vancouver to start going to film school, he was somebody that I was with every day, like a father figure. So when he died, it was really, really hard on me. And then at that time I was like, I am running the charity Innocence Lost Foundation with Fascinate, and we were doing a concert. We still went ahead with the concert. We put on this like big fundraiser, and like my personal life was in a mess. Like it was really overwhelming, and I had a really big mental breakdown in 2017 when that happened, and I just had to just reevaluate a lot of stuff in my life. And yeah, and that's when I started going to counseling. Like I did a lot of counseling sessions at that point. But like 2018 and 2019 was basically filled with a lot of doctor's appointments. So there's like going to the doctor, going to my specialist, going for counseling, going to see a couple different naturopaths, doing like, and for me, it manifests in my body. Like right now, my voice is all choked up. Like my neck and my shoulders will get tense when I'm stressed and I'm talking about this kind of stuff. And so like, I was also going to chiropractor, massage therapy, acupuncture, energy healing on top of the counseling sessions and the other doctor's appointments. And so sometimes it's just a lot to deal with. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to share. I guess we should check and see who's joined and see if anybody has any questions. And I feel like I've been talking a lot, so I don't know if there's anything you want to ask me, Danielle. The Blossom Living with POI said, thanks for sharing your POI story. Thanks. I really love your guys' account. Like I love your page, and I like really follow along with the stuff that she posts. So yeah, thank you. And I feel like it's just like, there's so much involved when you're sharing a story like that. It feels like it's just like the tip of the iceberg, but I really appreciate you watching and saying that. Thank you.
Hey, Seashell. It's good seeing you on here. Ava, I just want to say, sharing your story is not easy. So thank you for sharing that. That is a hard story to take in. You've been through a lot. And it's good to see from where you were to where you are now. How are you feeling nowadays, though? Like you just shared your story. How are you feeling like today?
Well, like I feel like in 2018 and 2019, I worked through a lot of stuff, and there's still hard days sometimes, but in general, I'm feeling a lot better. But then like we talk about 2020 and like COVID and everything is happening, and like there's so much going on. So there's sometimes when I'll have hard days for sure. But overall, I was feeling like a lot better because something that was really amazing in 2020 is I got to go to Sierra Leone at the beginning of the year before COVID shut everything down. And that was really amazing. That was an amazing experience for me because I got to connect with so much family. And like I got to connect with our daughter Isa too. Like Fascinate, my partner, has a daughter and she's 18 and she lives in Guinea. So she calls me mom, like, and we talk all the time, and we're trying to bring her to Canada. So that's been something that's been like really like hopeful and something that I look forward to. And even through like all the COVID lockdowns and stuff, just like thinking about my family there and thinking about her helped me get through it a lot. And during lockdown, I had a lot more downtime too. So I felt like my life was a bit more balanced, especially at the beginning. Because like the overworking thing is because I work a lot and run the foundation and have like my personal life. It's just, so when I wasn't working, I felt like I had some more balance in the spring, which really helped. But then, going back to work, adding everything back on your plate, like it starts to get overwhelming again pretty quickly if you're not careful. So that's why I'm trying to like break the cycles and break the patterns from repeating. So I started going back to counseling again during like this year again, and just continuing to work on the stuff because it's easy to fall back into old patterns of overworking yourself and not taking enough time for yourself and not having balance.
I think, to me, you're a huge role model, especially everything I've seen you go through.
Thanks,
and I think
Danielle.
that's amazing. I think you're a very strong individual. There is times that you could have
Same
quit,
to
just
you.
threw everything out, and you didn't. You kept going. And that's really the key to life. Having kind of like learning how to ride the waves, and you're riding the waves very well.
Thank you.
I didn't know about like school and stuff. Even at school, you got very overwhelmed and very stressed. Did you ever feel like if you failed at something, you're letting yourself down?
Yeah, I think like dug into this a lot in therapy, but I think what, the idea is like I think I tied like my value to my work ethic. So like if I was accomplishing things and achieving things, then I had more value as a person. Whereas like I couldn't just be like a great person just because like without doing anything, just as myself. I think I tied all of my value to like what I was achieving, what I was accomplishing, or like, oh, I've gotten this goal, I'm going on to the next goal. But yeah, it's just something that has happened like all through pretty much as far back as I can remember, since the time I was in definitely middle school. It started getting worse, high school, and my adolescent years.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's crazy. Like how you went through that just being so young all the way to now. But then
Yeah.
I guess one day you decided that maybe you were aware of all this and that's why you took that step to get counseling for yourself
Yeah.
to get everything figured out, which is amazing.
Yeah, and it's like like when I'm journaling, like if you go back and you read journals, like it's pretty crazy because you can start to see your patterns. And I know my pattern is that I would work until burnout, and then I would burn out and have a huge crash and a big breakdown, and then I would like pull myself together again and then start again
It's
on the
like a
next
cycle. It's like
mountain.
the same
Yeah,
cycle you're
the
going
same
through, right?
cycle my whole life. Yeah. And it's like, like because then once you spend some time resting and recovering, then you're like, oh, I feel great. I'm ready to get back at it. And then you just work and work and work again until the point where you have another burnout. But it's like learning the signals and the signs before it happens so that I can try to prevent it before it happens now,
And
you
that's,
know?
yeah.
So like, and that's still hard because sometimes there's always something else to do, and you're a mom, and we're going to get into your story in a moment, and like I think I know that you feel the same. Like it's hard to rest sometimes. There's so much stuff going on all the time. There's always so much that needs to be done, and sometimes it can be hard to just learn to let it go and that things can wait, and it doesn't all have to be done today. And I think that's another thing with setting big goals for yourself is like when you're not achieving them as quickly as you want to be, you have all this pressure that you put on yourself, or at least I do. I put a lot of pressure on myself, I find. And especially when you're someone who's like, runs their own business or is self-employed, if you don't set hours for yourself of like, now I'm going to have a rest, like there's always just that one more thing to do, one more thing that you want to get done. That's how it happens for me anyways. And so yeah, it's just figuring out a way to balance it out and to prevent it from happening, like noticing the signs of like I'm starting to feel like I'm getting overworked, I'm getting overwhelmed, I'm having a lot of anxiety, and like just being like I need to stop and have a break now before the big breakdown happens.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I want to ask you one thing. You are a beautiful model and actress, and I hope you know that about yourself.
And you are
Every
too.
every
Because
time you
how
walk that runway and every time you get in front of that camera, how does it make you feel? Like, is that something that relieves some stress out of your body, or how does modeling and acting make you feel when you're in the spotlight like that?
Well, I think like for runway modeling, when it's like when I used to do that more, it was like an adrenaline rush, and like you do get that performance feeling. Like before you start, there's some anxiety, but once you do it, and when you're done, you just feel so like accomplished, and you feel so happy that you did it. So that's kind of like an adrenaline rush. Like I was like an adrenaline junkie, like performing and going on stage does give you that rush, and then you feel so good to express yourself in whichever medium you're doing it, whether it's acting or modeling or walking down a runway or whatever. But even like public speaking and stuff, like you just feel very good afterwards when you're done, right? Like it makes you feel like, I don't know, yeah, that you accomplished something.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And like, I give you props for running a foundation and modeling and acting and all your other side stuff.
Thanks,
I
Danielle.
just, I don't like, you have to be very organized to run an organization. And how do you, I don't even know how you get everything done in a day. If you have like a notepad, like today I'm gonna, like if you have, hey Manine, great to see you on here, girl. If you have like an event that you're planning, how do you actually get yourself into the zone? Like you have to, you know, you're selling tickets, you know, you're raising money. You have to go pick up, you know, gifts from people that you're auctioning off. Like, how do you sort all this sort of stuff out?
Yeah, it can be a lot. It can definitely be a lot. Well, like I think the organizational stuff, like I got that from my mom. My mom's a very organized person, and it's like all about the to-do lists. Like I swear that if like I make so many to-do lists and I can actually get a little bit obsessive with it. And that can also be my downfall, right? Is like if I don't have everything written down on a to-do list, it's hard for my brain to rest. And so I'll keep thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. But yeah, like planning events and stuff, I've taken a bit of a step back from that, and especially with COVID. But in the last few years too, it was just because it was too much to also add on my plate. And so the thing was like just making sure that the whole team is involved and wanting to put in that much work, because it is a lot of work. So it's too much work for one person to take on. You have to have like a group of people that are going to be doing it together, because otherwise the burnout rate is just so that much faster. But I always, like if I had an event that I was planning, I always had at least one or two people that were like really involved in planning it with me, so that I tried to have as much help as possible. I think that's the only way to do it, honestly. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you got a team behind you that stands behind you. That's very important.
Thanks.
You always need help, and I'm
Thank
glad.
you. And you've been involved a lot too over the years, so it's been really great.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
I love helping, just like you, so it feels good.
Yeah, totally. And then there's just one more thing I wanted to touch on, which was grief. Like when Appa passed away, the grief that I went through was like, it was hard. It was really, really, really hard for a long time. Like probably like 6 months were pretty dark. Like I had like a lot of like down days and, you know, like a little bit of a depression, I would say at some points. But it was just, you know, getting through that is really, really hard. And the only way I got through that is just with like time and grieving, and it's hard, you know. And when someone close to you passes away, you have to give yourself that time to grieve, because, you know, now a couple years later, I can talk about him and smile, or think about him and smile, but there's still hard days. And so grief is like something that, you know, not to take lightly, because it's really can be really hard. And in the first little days, you might be like, oh, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling okay. And then like all of a sudden it can catch up on you, and you can be like, no, actually, I'm not really doing okay. I'm grieving right now, you know?
Yeah, that's very important to grieve. That's the only way to heal, is to grieve. Some people hold it in and it's really bad. Not only does it damage your health, you have to let it out. And even if it takes 6 months, a year, some people a couple years, some people
long time
don't even get over it. But it's so important to grieve and express yourself. Never let anyone tell you, you know, you should be tough and all this. We're not robots. We have feelings. And it's okay. It's okay. Like, you were in a dark place for 6 months, but you were going through something hard. And it takes a lot of courage to actually acknowledge that you're grieving and want to make a change. And, you know, you're going through a lot of pain and stuff. And I'm glad that you worked it out. You know, grieving can take 6 months to a year or years. Some people just don't get over what they're going through. And it's good to see you come out on top.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so true. And like, no matter what, when someone close to you passes away, there's always going to be hard days, but like, hopefully it just over time slowly gets easier and easier a little bit by little bit,
Exactly.
you know? Yeah. But yeah, I feel like I've talked a lot already today, so I wanna talk about you. I want you to share your story, Danielle, because you have an amazing story and it's really inspirational. So yeah, I want to pass it over to you now and let you share.
Well, thank you, Ava. No, I've always looked up to you. You've been like a huge role model for me. Like I said, I just find that you're very organized. You have a big heart. You're very caring. You're compassionate. You have a lot of amazing skills. And don't forget that about yourself.
Thank you, Danielle. And I feel the same way about you. And I'm really happy that we're friends. You know, your friendship means a lot to me.
Thank you. Yeah, Ava and I met randomly at a pageant.
Yeah,
which is
that's true.
Kind of random. And now we're here.
Yeah,
so I am, like I said, my name is Danielle. I am a stay-at-home mom to beautiful 4-year-old boy and a 19-month-old baby girl. My path kind of started, I do agree with Ava about working a lot. I used to work a lot, and I was always working 2, 3 jobs. I didn't really check into myself during those times to see like if I was tired or not tired. I just knew I had to work. I was money hungry for whatever reason. I didn't like having debt. So I worked a lot. So usually, people were out clubbing and drinking and all that fun stuff. I was working. I don't know. I'd work a daytime job, a nighttime job. Just, I don't know. It's just my work ethic. I like to work a lot. I don't know why. Anyways, I didn't realize how busy I was until I got pregnant with my son. During my son's pregnancy, it was very interesting. I experienced postpartum depression, but was in denial. I was in huge denial. I would go into my checkup appointments and be crying, and the doctor's like, I need to refer you to a counselor ASAP. I said, no, I'll be fine next week. Like I said, I did not understand postpartum depression during the pregnancy at all. This was all very new to me. So 3rd trimester, I was crying every day. Everything's making me upset, very sensitive. And I thought, it's just a pregnancy, right? So the doctor did end up referring me quite urgently to a doctor and a counselor during the rest of my pregnancy, which I'm still in counseling today. So after I had my son, I was super depressed. I stared at my son. I didn't feel that love at first sight. I just felt like right away I was like some sort of made for him. Like right away I had to take care of him. Like, I'm a baby now. Okay. I had a very negative attitude towards my son when he was born. I look on back and obviously I regret that now. The story's going to get better. Okay, everyone. It's going to start off a little bit sad. Like I said, I did not know much about postpartum depression. I thought it was not like a real thing. I thought moms would just say that to get attention. That sounds really bad. I did not know. And then when my son was born, I was suicidal. I did have 72 hours in labor, which is very hard, to the point where the doctor said, we have to do an emergency C-section, not because there's something wrong with the baby, because you are very tired now. And if we keep pushing it and hoping you're going to dilate and you're not, you're going to be even more tired. So, 3 days in labor, no sleep, baby comes out, boom. Right away, I was very depressed. And I didn't know why. It was hard for me because before that, I used to be like a motivational speaker. I used to speak in front of audiences. I always had uplifting quotes on my Facebook wall. I was always
You're Miss Lower Mainland.
Yeah, Miss Lower Mainland. Volunteering a lot. I'm actually grateful for the Miss BC pageant, I have to say, because it's the one pageant where I feel like if any woman out there wants to try a pageant for the first time, I feel like this is your pageant. It's not based on your body, how you look. It's based on your inside and how you present yourself as a person. And I love when I won my title, it was like a whole year of volunteer work and giving back. And that really opened up my eyes to a lot of things. But so I was in counseling. And then went to the doctor's office. I had weekly appointments at the doctor's office with my postpartum depression. It was very hard. I got to a point where I was suicidal. And this whole time, my husband stood by my side, which I thought was amazing. I hear a lot of rumors of people saying that, their wives turned into a bitch and they're not the same. And, they're not, all this stuff. But my husband said that he had taken the time to look up postpartum depression and what it did to the body, and he was trying to help me. And I thought that was really amazing. He didn't share that story till about a year later when I asked why he stood by my side through all of this. But it was tough. I did want a second child too, and I wanted to have them really close together. And I had to give up that dream because I was suffering so much with the first. And my son wasn't the issue. I had the issues. It just ended up affecting my son in some different ways with anxiety and things he has today that we're working through. But yeah, it was a bit of a tough road. And as I went to counseling more and more, I was aware I had an issue, and then I wanted to work on my issues with postpartum. Now, postpartum depression is all hormonal. It's not like I came up and said, oh my God, I have postpartum depression. I want to be miserable the rest of my life. I want to cry every day when I get up, and I want to just be so negative. No, postpartum it's a hormonal imbalance that you don't really have a lot of control over. It's hard. It's like resetting your brain. It's like when your child's born and they just bloom into their own little human being. And I just felt it's hard to talk about, but I just felt my life was over for that time. And I didn't know what to do. My husband was working. I was on my own. I canceled a lot with friends because I was I knew I was negative, so I wouldn't be around people. I didn't want people knowing I had postpartum depression. So I'd make a plan, cancel, make a plan, cancel. You know, the counselor's like, you need to get out and walk. I didn't want to get out and walk. Everything felt like such a chore. My son hated the car seat. So when he was crying and crying all the time, every time I put in the car, he'd cry. Then one day I pulled over and I was crying because I was like, why are you crying? Why do you hate your car seat so much? You know, like I try to get him comfortable. I put padding in there. He had like a good car seat too. And he just hated the car seat. So that affected me a lot too. Like I just wasn't myself. And when I told my husband I wanted to give our child up for adoption, he was like, "Ooh, time out. You need some counseling." So like I was in counseling, postpartum group, weekly appointments with my doctor. This was the first year and a half of my life. All appointments. And I just thought I was going to be a horrible mom. I missed all my son's first year. I was in a zone. I didn't feel I loved him. There was no love at first sight. A year later, I was scared to ask. I said, why don't I feel a connection with my son? Why don't I love my son? He was in my stomach for 10 months, and that was really tough. And at the end of my son's pregnancy, someone rear-ended me, and it wasn't even my fault. I was parked, and I got hit, and I got rushed to the hospital because my son stopped moving. Now, my son was a very active boy during the pregnancy. He was always kicking in my stomach and moving every hour, and he stopped moving. So I had getting rushed to the hospital, and I was getting hooked up. So that added to my postpartum depression because the rest of the pregnancy, I was just like, is he alive? I don't feel a heartbeat, like just going crazy. But I came out of that. Area, you know, the car accident's done. I wasn't allowed to do any back treatment. So I had a messed up back during the rest of my pregnancy, not allowed treatment because I was third trimester. And then it just finally, when TK was like 6 months old, I was able to start some back treatment and my back started getting a bit better and better, doing physio and all that, but that's hard. And then with my second one, I did have a bit of depression, but I fought through it. I had a little bit of rough go, but I was like, I am not missing out on my baby girl's first year. I will not. I loved her the minute she came out. I've been pretty much standing on my feet since then. I have some bad moments, but then I'm having more good moments. So I'm now that I'm back kind of on my game, I kind of say, okay, I have a couple of bad days, but I'm having way more good days. Before, when I had my first child, every day was a bad day. It was very rare that I had a good day. And, you know, I was getting back on track and everything was getting good, counseling and all that. And then, you know, I was like, great, my son's going into he was in daycare. He hated daycare. Great. Now he's going to preschool. And I thought I had a little time to myself, to my daughter. Then my daughter, you know, she was in she was going to go to daycare, but we couldn't get her daycare. So I had to put my going back to work aside and becoming a stay-at-home mom full time, which I've been since the start. But I thought I could maybe get out and work a little bit, you know, and you know, bring in some money and just help out a bit with the household. But then COVID hit. And, you know, I have to say, I just have to say, I got everything was going back on track in my life. And I was finally, the doctor said, you need to get outside. I was starting to arrange play dates, starting to get back to normal, you know, getting into a routine, dropping my son to school, being more positive, you know, talking to great people like you all day. And then COVID hit. And then we went into a lockdown. Yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and say, I am grateful we're alive. We haven't got COVID. We're all safe and healthy. But wow, you know, going to the gym every day to, you know, dropping your kid off at school, packing lunches for them, going all day, and you having that time to yourself, you know, so you can read a book or, you know, just get back on track to just COVID hit, lockdown, we're just home. That was really hard. I was very miserable at the beginning of COVID. I was very, very miserable. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat anything. It was very tough the first few months. And also, like, just more laundry, because every time you go out, you know, they're saying, you know, when you get in from the house, take your clothes off. So the laundry goes up. I'm making all these meals because the school program was doing the meals at school. So I felt like I was doing dishes all day. I just had a really bad attitude. And I was in counseling too. You know, my counselor's trying to tell me, okay, well, you know, you gotta look at the positive. I didn't see any positive at the beginning. I just felt locked down in the house with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, a few months later, I was talking to my lovely neighbor next door, and she started teaching me how to bake. And then, so now I'm baking things from scratch. I'm making bread from scratch. I'm making dinner buns from scratch, hot dog buns, hamburger buns. You know, I'm making banana, everything that I am doing now. I swear, I would not have done it if COVID didn't hit, because I never had that time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm kind of seeing a positive, spending more time with my kids, talking to them more, kind of getting on a nice routine, you know, doing more video calls with the family. And I'm actually, you know, my mom was yelling at me because I was in my pajamas all the time. And yeah, I know it's bad, but you know, what year can you say you got to stay in your pajamas all year? I've been enjoying my pajamas, but now I'm trying to get up and get dressed, you know, dress up to the grocery store, you know, with my mask on, you know, try to put the mask, match it with my outfit.
Hey, I do that too.
And I'm trying to do a positive on COVID, because I know it's been hard for people, and that's why we're kind of checking in today with each other, because I know it's been hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I am having more good days than bad days right now, but I'm finding it hard that when I hope the world's going to get back to normal. It has to at some point. How are we going to get back to normal? Because I'm telling you, for people who've been home this whole time,
Mm-hmm.
flying back out there full time isn't the answer. I feel like
Yeah.
it just does more damage on our bodies. I get tired just going to the grocery store now. It's like my body's gone into lazy mode, but it's hard to say. It's weird.
Yeah, but like maybe not lazy mode, but just like getting used to the feeling of not being overworked and overwhelmed all the time.
Yeah.
You know, because we our lifestyles were too fast before.
And is
You
it
know,
okay to be that fast in life? It's like, is that how the government wants us? Like just working
I don't
to
know,
the
but
ground?
it takes a toll on your body and it
It
takes a
does.
toll on your mental health for sure.
Yeah, because you
You
don't get
know?
time to think.
Mm-hmm.
Because you go
Yeah.
to work, come home, you got to make dinner, you're packing lunch for kids the next day, or you're going to
Yeah.
grocery store. If you know, if you're not married or not with anybody, then you know you're going to work, coming home, cooking. It's like the same routine for everybody, and it's
Yeah.
just so busy. All you do is come home and prep for the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be really, really overwhelming. And yeah, I think one of the good blessings of COVID is that people are starting to reevaluate like their lives, their priorities in life, like and maybe adjusting some things. You know I have like been thinking about that a lot, and also just with health and with mental health, like I can't work if I'm sick. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like I need to prioritize that. No matter how much I want to work and make money, if I'm not healthy, I can't do that. You know, but it's just yeah, it's like everything. Everybody's going through the same. The cost of living is so high, and like it's tough. It's really tough. Everybody's going through a lot, right?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It is a tough time. It is, and that's why it's so important to take time out for yourself every day.
Mm-hmm.
As a mom, I can see my kids when they're playing in the living room, and sometimes when I need a timeout, I'll actually just go stand outside the door and I'll just
Mm-hmm.
take like 10 deep breaths. I know the kids are safe, nothing around them, and I
Mm-hmm.
can even go walk and through the window and look at them on the side. But you know, these breaks are important, especially right now. The breaks
Yeah.
are very important, and if you have to take 5-10 minutes to yourself, then you have to do that. I tell my husband every day, you know, I need breaks. You know, it's very important. And even
Mm-hmm.
if it's just 20 minutes, I swear, if a mom gets an hour to herself, we are refreshed and we are
Yeah.
smiling. It's just when we're running ourselves
I
around
know.
all the time. And then my daughter, who's been, like last night, she was up from 1 to
Yeah.
4 a.m. having a party, you know, give her some, it's just, I keep going, you know.
Yeah.
And as a mom, it's just, as a parent, there's no stopping. It's just go. Whether you're feeling good or not good, you know, you're still a parent, and I think that's the hardest part. It's very rewarding and it's very tiring at the same time,
Yeah.
but it's also a beautiful thing, and it's just having that balance. I used to compare myself to other moms who are like, or other parents that are just like, you know, my kids in swimming, and then from swimming they go to soccer, and from soccer they go to baseball. But I'm like, holy, like, and my counselor is saying, stop comparing yourself to the other moms. Stop
Mm-hmm.
comparing them. And some of these moms when I spoke to them were kind of worn out, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
you're just
Mm-hmm.
taking your kid to activity to activity to activity. So
Mm-hmm.
I decided that my son won't be doing any activities until he reached like age 3. Age 3, I finally started signing up for swimming. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
one activity,
Mm-hmm.
once or twice a week. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the time is with me because I want to build a relationship with my son and my kids, and I don't feel like they need to be an A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So he had to do what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
That worked for me. I thought he can do all the sports and all the activities he wants as he gets older. And I thought
Mm-hmm.
this time to me is crucial because the minute he hits kindergarten, he's in school 5 days a week.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see him.
Yeah.
So that was hard for me because I was comparing myself. Well, how come this mom is doing this? And am I lazy or am I not a good parent? And just you have to do what's right for you and your family. And I had to stop focusing on other people. And like, you know, some of my friends do play dates every day. I can't do play dates every day. I think it's too much to pack up a bag, snacks,
Yeah.
diapers, everything. And I was doing like one play date a week. And I was happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started focusing more on myself and my kids' needs, I started becoming a bit more happier with myself, I found, and just taking things, you know, just slow.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and comparison is a funny thing, right? Because we're comparing to what we see other people posting or what we see people sharing online. But a lot of times people don't share the bad stuff. They only share the good stuff, right? So it gets hard because you can get into that comparison trap, but you know, it's not necessarily what's happening for them. But everybody wants to post the good moments, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to share about your story? Did we have any other questions maybe? Let's take a look if there was anybody who commented anything.
No, I'm just saying really focus on yourself. You know, I hate saying that like we're not robots. We are not. We are humans. Always make sure I just think taking time out for yourself, even if it's going for a walk, coffee shop, standing outside in your yard for a few minutes, or just going on a nice drive. Take time for yourself, especially during COVID. I know there's not a lot going on, but just really.
It's super important.
Yeah, I have a vent buddy that I vent to. It's not like a negative call, but it's something to get off your chest. And sometimes it's just like, oh, it's been bugging me for a few days. I have that vent friend that you can talk to about anything, and then
That's
it
good.
just stays there. I think, just finding the little things that make you happy right now. That's really all we can do till things get back to normal.
Yeah.
And then also just making sure when we go back to normal, easing into it slowly, I feel.
Yeah, exactly. Just finding that balance when we go back. I saw Lori comment that comparison is the thief of joy, which is so true. Hi, Lori.
Amen.
Thanks.
Yeah. No, she's right. I know. I wish I planted it in my brain a long time ago, but yeah,
I know. And then it's just like, you know, you start like we started going back to work, and then you just kind of like dive right back into it, and all of a sudden you're feeling burnt out again really quickly, you know, if you're not careful. And it's like, wait, I need to change those patterns. I don't want that to happen again. I don't want to start burning out again. But let's talk about some other tips and ways of what we do when we're having a bad day, or stuff that helps us feel better when our mental health isn't at its tip top shape. Like we talked about going to counseling. That's something that both of us have done over the years, which is super helpful. And I recommend it to everybody. Like, take the stigma away from going to counseling. It's actually, you can go to counseling for so many different reasons. Counselors can help you with tons of different stuff. They can help you work through things. You can talk about problems. You can talk, like, it's hard to even, you know what I mean, right, Danielle? Like, it's an unlimited amount of stuff that you can work through with your counselor.
We have a counselor for our business, and she's been amazing. She knows everything inside and out about what we should know about having a self-employed business and stuff that we didn't even know, which is great.
That's
so
great.
I agree with you. They can help us so many different things.
Yeah, totally. And then for me, I really like journaling. And for me, meditation actually did help a lot. When I wasn't doing my meditation, and for me, that's not even necessarily, oh, my mind is blank for 15 minutes, but it's 15 minutes where I've set aside that I'm not going to touch my phone. I'm by myself in a quiet space, not doing anything. And sometimes I'm listening to a guided meditation, which can just feel like a little spa day, like for 15 minutes, just a quick little, just check in with yourself, check in with your breathing, and just following along to some nice music and some nice talking, or just having some silence for even 15 minutes. If you do that every day and you make it a priority, it helps a lot. For me, it's helped a lot with my back pain, my stress levels, and just like with feeling overwhelmed. Now, like anytime I'm feeling overwhelmed, it's like, okay, take a deep breath. Maybe you need to go do a meditation. Whatever you're doing, can you take a 15-minute break and then come back to it? You know, and most of the time, yes, you can take a little break and then come back to something. And then working out has been really good. And I know with COVID, it's hard to go to the gym, but the online workouts have been really great. Um, I like working out with a buddy. Like you can do a FaceTime call or a Zoom call or something, and then watch a YouTube video and work out together. And dancing or doing a workout like that has been a really good stress reliever, I think, too. So those are some of my tips. Do you have anything you want to add on there, Danielle?
No, exercising is great, but it's sure hard with kids.
It's so true. I know.
I work out on and off, and I don't beat myself up anymore.
Yeah.
There's sometimes I'll do a 20-minute workout. It'll take me an hour and a half because my kids interrupt me so much. But you know what?
Yeah.
I worked out.
Yeah, exactly. At least you did it,
I
right?
don't beat myself up anymore because I feel like at some point I will be working out again. But working out helps me a lot. I have taken a break till January.
Yeah.
Had some back issues, but yeah, working out is good. So
Yeah.
I'm just doing walks right now. But I agree with you.
That's
Working out,
good.
yeah. Talking to a friend who makes you laugh. I think that
Mm-hmm.
helps. Someone uplifting.
Totally.
Staying away from negative people wherever you can.
Mm-hmm.
It might sound bad, but I have stopped watching the news because
No, I was just gonna say news breaks are important.
and actually, yeah, I stopped watching news because I feel like I'm home, I'm safe. Everything that whatever's being said right now, I'm home and I'm safe. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel
Mm-hmm.
everything that's going on, no difference from what I was doing in February. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get hooked on the news, especially at nighttime before bed. I try to watch something uplifting or positive, or just watch a movie. Yeah, the news has just been a no-no for me.
Yeah, it's like this whole year, like let's just put that out there again, 2020. There's so much stuff that happened in 2020. Like you can definitely get sucked into the news. And it's okay to like kind of know what's going on, but you don't need to be hooked into it 24/7. You don't need to be watching it all the time, and taking breaks from it is really healthy. Like to have that break, you know? It's really important because yeah, there's too much going on and it can feel overwhelming really quickly.
Yeah, even I had to stop my Facebook and Instagram sometimes. I'm not on it a lot because sometimes it's too overwhelming for me. Because especially when every second post is the news, I can't take that. It actually, I'm still healing from my postpartum. I'm still healing and getting back on a path, and sometimes that can really bring me down. So I'm just picking and choosing what I watch and don't watch.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm reading more positive quotes. Like I don't have time to. My dad sends me a positive video every day about just mindset and keeping my mind positive. So it's like a 2-3 minute clip. I can handle that. Somebody sends me like an hour video. I'm like, I can't watch that. I can't even take a shower every day. Like,
I know. So yeah. And something you just said too about just not being so hard on yourself is super important. You know, we're all doing the best that we can right now. Everybody's going through a lot. You know, the world is going through a lot, and just try not to be so hard on yourself. You know, if you make it through the day, then that's a success, right?
Yep. And also don't beat yourselves up, everyone. If like people are like, oh, you're too scared to do this. If you're someone who's staying home through the whole COVID, then that's what you have to do to feel safe. If you have a small bubble of friends, you feel safe with them, do what makes you feel safe, following the protocols, of course, and what they're saying. But, everyone has their own, I feel like, their own little corner right now, and just be comfortable with what you're doing.
It's so true. Yeah. Yeah. And something I think that happened, which to me, like I'll get burnt out when I'm checking in with people too much. Like if I'm, especially near the beginning when I had more time, I was checking in with a lot of people and seeing how they're doing, checking in with people. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? And answering a bunch of messages and stuff. But then I wasn't taking sorry, my little thing's falling down here. But then I wasn't, taking the time to check in with myself and making sure that I had enough downtime for me and stuff too, right? So yeah, it can get overwhelming, and then trying to keep that up while going back to work, that was just too much, you gotta sometimes prioritize yourself first, right? And then if you have time, you can check in with other people. And I got to a point at one point, I was like, this entire past 8 months, I've been checking in with people, and who's checking in with me? And I was just like, I'm stopping. I just need to take a little me break and then check in with myself and do that. And then something you were telling me again the other day, which is also something super important, is just being like gratitude. Having gratitude, even if you write down a small little gratitude list of a few things that you're grateful for, it can make a really big difference in your mindset, right?
Yeah, I love that. Yep. No, it's good. All about mindset. Like there's mornings I get up and I feel like, I'm going to be in a bad mood. I'm like, no, I'm not. My morning's starting off a little rough, but I'm I'm gonna start smiling and seeing the positive through. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough. But it's baby steps. Just taking that first step. It's the mindset, and then everything
Mm-hmm.
else usually works itself out. But you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Being positive, it's a habit, right? It took me, I had to practice being positive when I came out of postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I had to remind myself, okay, it starts today. I got to be positive. It's like doing homework
Mm-hmm.
every day, and
Yeah.
because it starts with me, and my mindset in the morning, and I have to make that mindset for me. Nobody can do that for me except for myself.
Yeah.
And every day I was just baby steps, trying to be a bit more positive, and every day I was
Mm-hmm.
becoming positive a bit longer every day, and then
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
gratitude.
Yeah, just because, yeah, it's true. Whenever you're feeling really down or something, if you can think of even just one thing that you're grateful for, it can turn your whole mindset around.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, totally.
And then also when you're
Um,
getting in a bad mood, just make sure you focus more on the positives over the negatives. Because to
mhm,
me, there should always be more positive and negatives going on in your life, and just
it's
really
true.
focus on that. And
It's true.
we seem to hold on to the tiniest things, and it's not worth
Hmm.
it on our health and stuff. It's just not
Hmm.
worth it. So
It's so true.
letting go.
Yeah, it's so true. And nature, if you're able to get out in nature, it's really, really healing,
It's so
right?
nice, fresh
Yeah,
air.
totally.
When you take off the mask, when you get home, you're just like, the
Yeah.
air was so beautiful in Canada.
Yeah. Well, Danielle, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know it was not easy, and I really appreciate you sharing that today. And I think we're going to wrap it up here. Is there anything else you want to mention, or how are you feeling?
Check the comments. Sure we didn't miss anything in the comments. Forest bathing with the kiddos. Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's
yes.
great.
Oh, my daughter. Anytime she's a puddle, she's gone. She loves outside. She's a nature girl. I love it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I also want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in and everybody that watched today, everybody that commented, supported, and watched. And yeah, we just really appreciate it for the time that we spent here together today.
Yeah, thank you so
But
much,
we
everyone.
could probably keep talking for hours and hours,
I
but
know.
Uh,
Well, thank you for joining us today. Ava, thank you so much for having me on here today. I really appreciate it. Every time I share my story a bit, I do feel heal. I heal a bit more every time. So thank you.
that's amazing. I'm really, really happy to hear that. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I hope everybody has an amazing day. And yeah, just remember, if you're ever going through something, just send a message, reach out to someone, and it will get better.